Welcome, grade 10. We're going to look at some more simultaneous equations, and it comes from the Afrikaans booklet called Die Oplossing. So if we look at simultaneous equations, you first have to decide whether you are going to make use of elimination. And elimination is when you try to make the x's and the y's the same. Elimination. You try to make the x's or the y's the same. And when you do get them to be the same, like for example, a 3x and a 3x, then you can eliminate by subtracting or adding the equations, or sometimes multiplying by something, or get the LCD. Substitution you do when it's easy to get the x alone or the y alone. Substitution is when you can get the x or the y value alone. So take down the notes and keep it somewhere in your file. And if anything doesn't make sense, please just, pause the recording, quickly take a photo and WhatsApp it to me and explain what you don't understand. So if I must look at these two, it seems that I can get my x alone. And the way that I do simultaneous equations, I like to work on the left side with one equation and on the right side with the other equation. Some teachers, or most of them, just work on the one side. So if you do get confused, you can just split it up. It's not that it's going to be wrong. I find it's less complicated because then if it's on the left side and you must sub in and your other equation is on the right side, you can be very sure that you don't sub into the same equation. So for this one, I'm going to get my x alone. Then I give it a new number, number 3. And now it's easy to sub equation 3 on my left side into equation 2, which is on my right side. So everywhere where I see an x now, I'm going to sub it with 8 minus 2y. Sometimes, especially in grade 11, they like making it more complicated, where they actually will give you like an x square, then you must FOIL it. This will be 16 minus 4y minus 3y is equal to negative 5. I owe 4 and I owe 3, so I owe 7y. I owe 5 and I owe 16, so I owe 21. You can do it step by step. You don't have to skip steps like me now. Then when you get a value for y, you can decide into which equation you want to sub it into. So I'm going to sub y is equal to 3 into equation 1. So where the y value is equal to 3, this will be x plus 6. So x is equal to 2. Now let's say you're unsure whether this is correct or not, then you can test. You don't have to show the testing. So I'm just going to test using equation 1. So then it means the left-hand side must be equal to the right-hand side. Right-hand side is 8. And this is my left-hand side of equation 1. So where x is equal to 2 and the y value is equal to 3, this will give me a 2 plus 6, which is 8. And therefore, left-hand side is equal to the right-hand side. So my answers are correct. Let's look at this one. Is it easy to make use of substitution? No, because there's a 3p and there's a 15p. So now I have to get the LCD. So let's say you want to get the LCD of the Q. So it's 7 and 2. So then it means you will get an LCD which is 40. I challenge you, do that while I'm going to get the LCD for 3p and 15p. That means I must multiply this equation by 5, because 3 times 5 will give me 15p. So you must multiply throughout. 7 times 5. And then you say 45 times 5, which is 225. Very important that you give it a new number. Now, we're going to eliminate. So I'm going to write equation 2, this one, underneath equation 3. Very important that you make sure everything is in the right order, meaning that the p's are written first, like, this first equation number 1, and then the q's, and then the whole numbers over the equal sign. Now, use common sense and decide how can you eliminate. So I'm going to eliminate the p's. How can I eliminate? In this example, if I subtract. Right, so I'm going to say 15 minus 15 is 0. 35 minus 2 will give me 33. And 225, let's quickly subtract. So this is 15, borrow 1, minus 7 is 8. This will be 11 minus 2, which is 9, and there will be a 1. And then just grab your calculator and divide 198 by 33 and hope you get a nice answer. Don't think it's wrong if you do get a fraction, because sometimes you do get fractions with these answers. Normally, it's a nice number. If you do get a fraction and you're not sure whether it's right, then I would definitely quickly test. Okay, I've got q is equal to 6. Now you can sum it into either equation 1 or equation 2. I'm just going to sub into equation 1. So it will be 3p plus 7q is equal to 45, where I'm going to sub in my q value, which is 6. So 45 minus 42 is giving me a 3. Divide both sides by 3. So p is equal to 1. And if you're not sure, then you can just go and test. Let's look at this one. I have a 4a here and a 3a in the second equation. And there's a 5b and a 5b already. So that's going to help me. So I don't have to multiply anything. I can just immediately subtract. Is it in the right order? Yes, it is. This will be equal. What did I mean by the right order? I mean the A has been written first, then the B. The A is written first and then the B, and the whole number's been taken over. So let's write it here, 4A plus 5B. Again, let me give you a little challenge. Let's say you didn't see the 5Bs were equal. Then you can take 4a to 12 by multiplying the whole equation 1 by 3. And you can take the 3a to 12 by multiplying the whole equation by 4. So it's a challenge. You go and try it. And then our answers must still be the same. So to eliminate, To eliminate, to get rid of, that's what eliminate means. It means get rid of something. Now, you did hear me in the beginning. I were just talking about X's and Y's, but now in this example, we sit with an A and a B. So it doesn't matter. It will always be some sort of, two different variables. So let's subtract. Why will I subtract? Because if I have 5 B's and I minus 5 B's, my answer will be 0. I'll quickly show you another way of doing it, the way that the teachers normally teach. I like to just, put a circle around what I'm going to do. 4 minus 3 is 1. 5b minus 5b is 0. And 28 minus 16 will be 12. So my A is equal to 12. Then you can sub into any other one. So I'm going to sub A is equal to 12 into, let's say, equation 1. But I challenge you to try and get the LCD and then see what you answer. So if A is 12, this will be 48. And then you're going to say 28 minus 48, which is negative 20. Mostly when I see some, my pupils make a mistake with something, it's normally with the signs. So be extra careful with your signs. So B is going to be equal to negative 4. Right, let's test. So B is equal to negative 4. Let's quickly test and see if it's going to be right. Left-hand side, 4A plus 5B, and the right-hand side. I just want to make sure I've got it right. Okay, so let's test quickly. So in the place of A, I'm going to put in a 12. And in the place of B, I'm going to put in a negative 4. And this will give me 28. So the left-hand side is equal to the right-hand side. So I know my answers are correct. This is the last one for this recording. Now it looks a little bit more complicated, doesn't it? So the first thing we're going to do, because it's a plus and a minus, whenever you see a plus and a minus, you have to get the LCD. So I'm going to put brackets around minus, so you put brackets around. And name it equation number 1. And this one will be equation number 2. So my LCD for 2 and 3 is going to be 6. So this 2 you must multiply by 3. So you multiply the numerator by 3. This 3 you need to multiply by 2. So you put a 2 in front of the numerator. Because it's a fraction, you can drop the LCD. Many pupils forget the whole number. Please don't forget it. It's actually like 1 over 1. So you have to say 1 times 6, and negative 1 times 6 is negative 6. 3a minus 3 minus 2b plus 4. 3a, so I'm just going to simplify it like this. I owe 3 and I have 4, so it means I have 1. And take it over, so it's -7. So this is going to be my equation number 3. With this one, the LCD is going to be 20. So for the first one, we're going to multiply by 5. This one, we're going to times by 4. And remember, this is 1 over 1. So it's going to be -20 and give it a new number. So don't get a fright if you do see sometimes even exponents. You just simplify it and then you solve your simultaneous equations. (5a minus 4b is, what am I doing? It's 5a. So I want it in the format of the one on the left side. So I'm going to write it as 5a minus 4b, and I'm going to take my whole numbers over. I owe 15, but I have 16, so it means I have 1. Take it over, so it will be -20, -1, so it's -21. And I see I decided to name that one 4 there already. So then I'll name this one 5. So now we're just going to write it underneath each other. This was not necessary to name it number 4 there already. We could have done it right at the end. So this is equation number 3. And 5a minus 4b is equal to -21. Okay, I still have a problem. What is my problem? I don't have something here that I can eliminate. So I must first go and multiply this one by 2. You see, that's going to be the easiest thing to do. So let's quickly do that. Seems I'm over anxious to finish off this one. Right, let's just get the pen back. So I'm going to multiply this one by 2. So then I sit with 6a minus 4b is equal to -14. And now that I've changed this, I have to give it a new number. That was number 5. So then it's going to be number 6. And what can I eliminate? I can eliminate the b. So I'm going to write 5a down here minus 4b is equal to -21. That's my equation 5. So this one is a little bit more tricky now, because you must decide whether you're going to add or subtract. I said I will show you how most of the teachers explain it, so I'll do it their way now. So I need to do what here to eliminate? I normally say put a plus there and ask yourself, I owe 4, and a positive and a negative is a negative. So I owe 4 and I owe 4. So that's not going to help me. And it means I'm going to owe 8. So plus is not going to work here. So we have to subtract. So the way the teachers teach it, not all of them, most of them, many of them, would say, okay, if you need to subtract, we might mess up the signs. So we are going to add, but we're going to change the signs of all the ones at the bottom. So what I normally do if I subtract, I just keep the minus there, and then I will just say I owe 4, and a negative becomes positive. So then I owe 4 and I have 4. Okay, but it's less mistakes if you do use this method, which they normally teach, where they say you need to subtract. We figured that out. But instead of saying minus 4b minus minus, you just add, but you change the signs of the bottom row. 6 minus 5 is 1. I owe 4 and I have 4. gone. I owe 14, but I have 21. So that means I have 7. So A is equal to 7. Now that I have A is equal to 7, I'm going to sub it into equation 3. Into this one. You can sub it into absolute anyone. So A is equal to 7. It's 21. I'm going to take negative 2b over, then it's positive, and then this will be 21 plus 7, which is 28, and divide by 2. So therefore b is equal to 14. Right. Hope you enjoyed it and hope you understood. If you didn't understand anything or something specific, take a screenshot and just WhatsApp me. Thanks for looking at it or watching or listening to the recording.